Welcome back to Midnight Tales, where shadows dance and reality bends. I'm your host, and tonight we're diving into a story that will make you question everything you think you know about being watched. So dim the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself for the follower. But first, if you enjoy these spine-tingling stories, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support keeps these tales alive in the darkness. Now let's begin. The follower. The fluorescent lights of the grocery store buzzed overhead as I grabbed the last items on my list: milk, bread, and those frozen dinners that had become my staple since moving to this new city 3 months ago. The clock on my phone read 9:47 p.m. Later than I had planned, but the empty aisles meant no crowds, no small talk with neighbours I barely knew. That's when I first noticed him. He stood at the end of aisle 7, pretending to study a box of cereal. Tall, maybe 6'2", wearing a dark hoodie pulled up despite the store's warmth. What caught my attention wasn't his appearance, it was the way he turned away the moment our eyes met. Too quick, too deliberate. I shrugged it off and headed to checkout. The teenage cashier scanned my items with the enthusiasm of someone counting down minutes until closing time. As I waited, I caught a glimpse of the hooded man in my peripheral vision. He was still there, now examining greeting cards with unusual intensity. The parking lot was mostly empty when I stepped outside, my breath visible in the October air. I walked toward my car, groceries in hand, when I heard footsteps behind me. Not the casual pace of another shopper, these matched my rhythm exactly. When I slowed, they slowed. When I quickened my pace, they did too. My heart began to race. I fumbled with my keys, hands trembling as I unlocked the car. In the reflection of my window, I saw him, the hooded man, standing about 20 feet away, watching. I threw my groceries into the back seat and slammed the door, locking it immediately. Starting the engine, I pulled out of the parking lot, checking my rearview mirror. A dark sedan followed me onto the main road. This is just coincidence, I told myself. Lots of people drive this way. But when I turned left onto Maple Street, so did the sedan. When I took the long way around the park, adding 5 unnecessary minutes to my route, the headlights stayed a constant distance behind me. My hands gripped the steering wheel as I made a series of random turns, right, left, right again. The sedan followed every one. My breathing became shallow, my vision tunnelling as panic set in. Finally, I turned onto my street, Elmwood Drive. The sedan continued straight, disappearing into the night. I sat in my driveway for 10 minutes, engine running, watching the empty street. Nothing. No one. You've been paranoid, I whispered to myself. New city jitters. Inside my apartment, I triple-checked the locks and closed all the blinds. I put away my groceries mechanically, trying to shake the unsettled feeling that clung to me like cobwebs. Maybe a hot shower would help. The water was scalding, steam filling the small bathroom. I let it burn away the tension in my shoulders, the knots in my neck. 20 minutes later, I emerged feeling almost human again. That's when I heard it. A soft scratching sound from the living room. I froze, water dripping from my hair onto the bathroom tiles. The sound came again, deliberate, rhythmic, like fingernails on wood. I wrapped a towel around myself and crept toward the living room, heart hammering against my ribs. The scratching stopped the moment I stepped into the hallway. The living room was empty, exactly as I'd left it. I checked the front door, still locked, chain still engaged. The windows were secure, blinds still drawn. Nothing seemed disturbed. Oh, old building, I rationalised, probably mice in the walls. But as I turned to go back to the bedroom, I noticed something that made my blood turn to ice. On the coffee table, next to my keys, sat a small piece of paper, folded neatly in half. I knew with absolute certainty it hadn't been there before. With trembling fingers, I unfolded it. You dropped this in the parking lot. Thought you might need it. A friend. Beneath the note was my grocery receipt. The room spun around me. I staggered backward, bumping into the wall. How had someone gotten inside? How had they... Wait. I looked at the receipt more carefully. The timestamp read 9:52 p.m. Store number 447 on Riverside Avenue. But that was impossible. I'd shopped at the Riverside location last week, not tonight. Tonight I'd gone to the Metro store on 5th Street. With shaking hands, I grabbed my phone and scrolled through my photos. There, a picture I'd taken of my car's odometer this morning. For insurance purposes, the mileage was clearly visible. I ran outside and checked my car. The odometer reading was exactly the same. I hadn't driven anywhere tonight. Back in my apartment, I sank onto the couch, mind reeling. I looked at my groceries still sitting on the kitchen counter. Milk, bread, frozen dinners, all there, all real. But if I hadn't gone to the store, where had they come from? I opened the milk carton with trembling hands. It was half empty. I checked the bread, several slices missing. The frozen dinners showed signs of being opened and reheated. Disbelief. This is impossible, I thought. I mentata capinum. I remember going to the store. I remember the cashier, the parking lot, being followed. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Ominously. The groceries were running low. Thought you might be hungry when you woke up. Sleep well. A friend. I ran to the bathroom mirror, staring at my reflection. My eyes were bloodshot. Pupils dilated. There was a small, almost invisible puncture mark on my neck, like a pinprick. The truth hit me like a physical blow. Shocked. I hadn't followed someone home tonight. Horrified. Someone had been living in my apartment for weeks, drugging me, taking care of me while I lived in chemically induced dreams of normal life. The memories of grocery shopping, of being followed, they were hallucinations, fabricated experiences created by whatever they'd been giving me. Desperate. But who? And why? I heard a key turning in the front door. Cheerfully, "Honey, I'm home," called a familiar voice. "Sing-song, I brought dinner." My neighbour from 3B stepped inside, still wearing the dark hoodie from my memory. He smiled as he set down grocery bags, the same brands I'd bought in my dream. Calmly, "You're awake early tonight," he said, not seeming surprised to find me standing there in a towel. Thoughtful, "Usually the sedative keeps you under until morning." "No matter, we'll adjust the dosage." He pulled a small syringe from his pocket. Soothingly, "Don't worry, darling. I've been taking such good care of you, making sure you eat, that you have everything you need. Insistent. We're going to be so happy together once you stop fighting it." I ran for the door, but he was faster. The needle slipped into my arm with practiced ease. As the world grew fuzzy around the edges, his voice seemed to come from very far away. Fading voice. "Sweet dreams, my love. Tomorrow we'll go grocery shopping together." Softly. "Won't that be nice?" The last thing I saw, before consciousness faded, was him carefully folding another note, probably for tomorrow's memory of our shopping trip. Dreamily, in my drugged dreams, I would remember choosing him. I would remember falling in love, inviting him in, giving him a key. Firmly, but deep down, in the part of my mind he couldn't quite reach, I would know the truth. Somberly, sometimes the most terrifying thing about being followed home is discovering you never left in the first place. And that's where our tale ends tonight, dear listeners. A reminder that reality can be more fragile than we think, and sometimes our worst nightmares are the ones we can't even remember living. What did you think of tonight's story? Did the twist catch you off guard? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. If you enjoyed The Follower, you might want to check out last week's story. And don't forget to subscribe for more tales from the dark side of the ordinary. Remember, the stories may be fiction, but the shivers are real. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your blinds closed, and always, always check your receipts. Sweet dreams.